Hello everyone, my name is Linda Vernon. I am a registered radiologic technologist and a student in the Radiation and Imaging Sciences program. For my capstone project, I decided to focus on improving the patient experience in the orthopedic clinic at my current employer, Seattle Children's Hospital. The focus of this project was to create a proposal that I will be sharing with management at my organization. This proposal is to replace the bench that we currently use to image patients with movement disorders with a more supportive and safe radiolucent chair. I will be sharing my experience during this project with all of you today. Thank you in advance for your attention. Here is an overview of my presentation. I will begin by discussing the goal of this project and by providing necessary background information. Next, I will present the methodology used in this project, including a survey that was implemented in the orthopedic clinic for an 8-week period, online searches that were done, my contact with the in-house woodshop at Seattle Children's Hospital, and contacting other children's organizations in an attempt to find a radiolucent chair for our clinic. I will then go over the results of my project and discuss the 2 chair options that I will be presenting to management. That will bring us to the conclusion of the project. And lastly, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge those who have helped me along the way. The goal of my project was to create a proposal for management that would demonstrate the need for a chair to replace the bench in the X-ray room within the orthopedic clinic. Our patients at Seattle Children's are very diverse, and we care for many children with different abilities and conditions. In the orthopedic clinic, we often have to perform scoliosis and spine imaging on patients with movement disorders, such as cerebral palsy. Many of these patients are unable to stand for this type of imaging, so we use this bench demonstrated on this slide to obtain these images. This bench was created by our in-house woodshop to replace the prior process of sitting our patients on a stool with family members, caregivers, and technologists assisting the patient to sit upright. This bench still requires the assistance of 1 or more people for many of our patients who require seated upright images. The orange belt seen in the image is also used to help hold our patients, but often it adds more discomfort than it is helpful. My goal in proposing a new chair for our orthopedic clinic is to replace this bench with something that provides more support and is safer for the patient and everyone involved in the exam process. By upgrading our equipment to fit the needs of our patients, we are aligning our processes with the vision of our organization, which states that we strive to practice the safest, most ethical, and effective medical care possible. This also relates to our values, specifically compassion. By upgrading our chair for these exams, we are providing our patients with the compassionate care that they deserve and expect from our organization. To begin my project, I implemented the survey seen on this slide within the orthopedic clinic for an 8-week period. I asked my coworkers to please fill out the form with tally marks for every patient that fit the requirements within this time period, and to track any specific comments made by the patient or family members regarding the exam process. The goal of this survey was to determine what percentage of patients required the elements I am attempting to reduce or eliminate during the exam process. This included how many patients required more than 1 person to stand next to them during the exam, which increases the amount of people exposed to radiation, and if the patient was sliding off the bench due to their inability to sit on a hard surface at a 90-degree angle. My research for this project involved conducting online searches for available radiolucent chair options. I visited many vendor websites and various other pages, with little success in the first few rounds. I did eventually find a chair that met my requirements and is included later in this presentation as one of the chair options. I also contacted the in-house woodshop to see if they would be able to create a chair for our department, since they had developed the idea for the bench that we currently use. Unfortunately, due to time constraints and other projects within the hospital, we were unable to decisively create an alternative to the bench. My last step in performing research for chair options was to reach out to several children's organizations throughout the country to see what equipment they used for this type of imaging, in hopes that they would be able to guide me towards a specific vendor. While this method did not produce a chair option, I did receive valuable information that was included in my report regarding their equipment and processes. Listed are the results of the survey. 41% of patients examined during this time required one or more family members or caregivers to help hold them during their x-rays, with 30% of the exams requiring a staff technologist to aid in holding. This means that many of our patients are unsafe to sit by themselves on the bench, which increases radiation exposure because those involved in holding the patient are also exposed. Technologists stated that 19% of the patients were sliding off the bench during the exam, and positioning aids commonly used to help hold patients were not useful during this type of exam. 19% of patients and families were also marked as voicing concern over the available equipment during the exam process. I feel that these survey results will help me convey the need for the chair in my proposal to management. From all of my research efforts, I was able to find 2 chair options that will satisfy the needs of our orthopedic clinic. These chairs include the EOS chair and the Real 8100 X-ray chair. The first option I will go over is the EOS chair. The EOS is a low-dose X-ray machine that is commonly used for scoliosis and leg length imaging of ambulatory patients. Seattle Children's Hospital is one of few hospitals in the country that has this type of machine. It requires the user to hold still for about 20 seconds while the images are taken, which does not currently allow for any of our patients with movement disorders to be imaged using this technology. One of the organizations that I contacted during my research was Boston Children's Hospital. Boston has an EOS machine and the EOS chair. The technologists I spoke with stated that they have successfully used the chair to obtain scoliosis imaging for patients with cerebral palsy because the restraints on the head and feet and the harness allow the patient to hold still without assistance in the EOS. This is an important consideration because not only are we able to use this chair in the EOS with a larger range of patients, but we can also use this chair with our other X-ray equipment because of the radiolucent materials used to create the chair. The downside to this chair is that there's no model available for testing, and the cost of the chair, which is roughly $20,000 after taxes and fees. The second chair option is the Real 8100 X-ray chair, a product from Sweden which has not yet been sold within the US. I found this chair in an online search, and through several emails and phone calls to the UK, I was able to connect with a representative for the company here in Seattle. This representative also happens to be the father of one of our patients who has used the bench for her scoliosis imaging. Needless to say, he was very enthusiastic about my interest in this product and was very accommodating in providing information. The key features of this chair include the high radiolucent backing, armrests that have the ability to swivel out of the way for side imaging of the spine, and a tiltable seat. The tiltable seat feature is very important as many of our patients also have contractures, which does not allow them to fully extend their legs, leaving them sliding off the bench because it sits at a 90-degree angle. The price point for this chair is also about half of the EOS chair and is roughly $10,000. One consideration for this chair is that it may need further modification to provide head and chest support. Another consideration is that the chair specifications do not indicate whether it will fit into the EOS machine, which may limit our ability to reduce radiation to our patients. That concludes the research and information included within my project report. The next step will be to present my proposal to management, which is scheduled for Thursday, June 20th, 2019. If my proposal is approved, I will arrange to meet with the representatives from both companies to negotiate pricing and to demo the Real 8100 X-ray chair. After weighing both options with management, I hope to finalize our decision for the chair purchase, including all additional features that we would like to purchase. The final step in completing this project will be to implement the purchased chair in the orthopedic clinic. In completing this purchase, our department will prove its continuous efforts to increase patient safety and comfort during our exams to ensure that we are doing right by our patients. I would like to take a moment now to acknowledge and thank the following people who have played an important role in the creation of this project. and all events leading up to the conclusion of my bachelor program. First and foremost, I would like to thank my husband Alan for being incredibly supportive during this entire process. And to my brother Kenny, thank you for dealing with me during this process. Next, I would like to thank Asa McDonald, my mentor through this project. Thank you for being my sounding board and providing excellent feedback to improve my project. I would like to thank all of my classmates for being outstanding to interact with and to work with in group projects. To my professors throughout the race and HCML courses that I've taken, I couldn't have accomplished this without all of you. Last but not least, I would like to thank my coworkers at Seattle Children's Hospital who have played a vital role in collecting data for this project, and who I probably drove crazy with all of my interview questions and talk about this project. If there is anyone that I have not included, please know that I am grateful for your support. Thank you for watching my presentation. You've been an amazing audience. And to my fellow graduates, congrats, we made it.